Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another Minding Our Business Financial Academy Wednesday live. So, hopefully, you're getting used to us coming to you live every single Wednesday. We do it at 6 p.m. Eastern. This is the second week of January. Yes, it is. Week number two. I'm a big counter of my weeks. There's only 52 of them. Something about counting the weeks for me that's very impactful. Counting days, there's hundreds of them. It's hard to lose track. You can have a good day, you can have a bad day. Months, I think, are just a little too long to track. I like tracking weeks. 52 is a good number to track as you go through your planner. If you're a bullet journal user, a digital planner, print planner. I like tracking my week. So, welcome, welcome. I'm Lionel Allen. I am your lead instructor here at the Minding Our Business Financial Academy. I'm a certified financial educator. I've been a real estate agent for over 20 years. Uh, I've helped to build my own family's wealth, and I consult others in helping them steward their finances from a faith based perspective and help them to go on to build their wealth. So, welcome, welcome. Today's conversation is a very timely and impactful one. Why resolutions fail and systems win. That will be our discussion for tonight. So, again, why your resolution is failing you and why you need to transition into leveraging a system. That will be our conversation for the next 25 minutes. Glad you're all here. If you're coming in from social media, from YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or any one of the other platforms we broadcast on, welcome. Welcome to the family. Um, we're rocking and rolling. We got our year started. We're doing a lot within the community, restructuring things a bit to bring more value to all of you. So just keep your eye out on your stream, on your threads. We'll be launching a new free community. We want to make sure this message of stewardship, the principles of stewardship, the tools and resources you need to be a good steward are available to everyone. That is our mission. Our mission is to help people of faith all over the world steward the kingdom's finances and grow their wealth for the advancement of the kingdom. That's what we do. So, tonight, again, there's our topic. Let's get right into this. I've got my notes ready and I'm ready to serve all of you. So, we're going to start out, as always, with our scripture reference. Tonight, it's Proverbs 16, verse 3. This one's a powerful one. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. That's from the New International Version. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. How do we translate that into application for today? I'm big on not just reading the word, but also looking to understand how I apply it, right? I think the Bible says, don't just be learners of the word, be doers of the word. So we try to stay in that stream of doing. So I believe God doesn't just bless intentions, he blesses obedience and structure. Bible constantly tells us to discipline ourselves. The Bible constantly tells us to seek wisdom, seek wise counsel, right? I'm currently going through, if you know of Rob Abadayo, I believe his name is. He has a great challenge he does every year called the 31-Day Wisdom Challenge. I'm a part of that. And we just walk through the 31 chapters of Proverbs. Today, of course, it falls on the day of the date. So today was the 14th chapter of Proverbs. It's been enriching my life. So if you can, go and check out the 31-Day Wisdom Challenge. It is amazing. But back to our topic at hand. So by today, 14th of January, more than 60% of New Year's resolutions already have been abandoned. So that means most people didn't fail in February, didn't even make it out of the month of January. They failed right here within the first 2 weeks of the year. Why is that? Why do people feel that they have to write these resolutions? Why do people feel like it's a new version of them on January 1, but when they get to January 14, they've already abandoned those thought ideals, those resolutions, the goals have already taken a back seat, and the same old behaviors that they've had in 2025 and even before that begin to creep back in. Well, what's happening is people are feeling their motivation fail. They're feeling their energy drop. Guilt starts creeping in. You said you were going to do this year, and look at you already doing it. That little nagging voice in your head, right? And then the excitement of it all, of the new, fresh resolutions and goals and all that, it's gone. It's already worn off. The novelty has worn off. And that's why many of us are not feeling motivated. That's why many of us are not feeling energized to continue those plans which we said we were going to set in motion in 2026. If you already feel like it's slipping away, I want you to hear this. You did not fail because you're lazy. You failed because you didn't employ the right strategy. So if you're one of those people who's already starting to drift away from your goals, you've already started to put a line through the resolutions, it's not because you were not motivated. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you can't do it. Get out of the negative self-talk. You are just not deploying the right strategy. So today, that is what I'm going to attempt to help you with: strategy. So let's move on here and let's take a look at why do resolutions not work? There's a whole host of reasons why resolutions don't work. Partly because everything you see on the screen right now is an internal driver. Motivation. I got to do that myself. I got to motivate myself to get up and work out in the morning. Willpower. I got to stay away from sugar and the donuts and the Starbucks coffee in the morning. I'll do a vision board, right? But vision boards aren't actions. Emotional energy. Maybe already, like I mentioned last week, maybe those statements just came in. You're seeing how much debt you racked up in December, and that has taken your motivation. And those big promises you made yourself in January are already starting to fade in the shadow of your current circumstance. So the truth is, motivation is a terrible system to rely on. Why? As I just mentioned, it's inconsistent, it's unreliable, and it's strictly just based on emotion. It is not based on truth. So what happens? It starts to break down when we get busy. I talked about the situation starting, the magnitude of the situation taking away our motivation and our energy. Willpower starts to fade us when we stress about what is going on. So when stress shows up, it pushes willpower right out the door. Like I mentioned earlier, our vision board is not action. You may have drafted a vision board for 2026, but did you calendar the activity related to the images on your vision board? That's the part that most people left out for you. It's not enough to just have the vision board party with your friends, go through all the magazines and cut out those images that you have of your future life, your future self, and glue them all down. But guess what? You got to break out your planner. You got to break out your Google Calendar or whatever you use and break those goals down into smaller segments and actually calendar them if you're going to hold yourself accountable to actually doing those things. So that's a really important nugget. I hope that's helpful to someone out there. I'm a big vision board person. I've been for the last 2 weeks setting goals and getting my vision board out. I do actually a whole PowerPoint with my vision board, my word of the year, my mantra, my prayer. I build it all out. But without a calendar to reflect the activities to point back to those things that I'm envisioning, I don't have an action. I don't gain traction. So goal setting is good. Systems get results. Systems get results. So tonight, we're not talking about goals. We're just talking about implementing systems to get us to the point where we can actually implement the goals we're setting for ourselves. So the core idea, if January doesn't have a system implemented, then February will look exactly like last year. All right. So now that we've covered the problem, let's get a little bit into the solution. So here's something I've affectionately said this to many people when I die. On my headstone, put plan, do, review. That's how important it's been to me in my life. Plan, do, review. It's a system that I've developed and garnered through my personal development journey. It's one that I take to heart. I try to employ it in everything I do, whether it's producing digital products like now, whether it's working with a client, whether it's my own building out some of my own properties and short-term rentals and all the other businesses that I have. All of it first came from plans. Then I actually went and did something. And then I went back and reviewed what I did. And that is something I learned from one of my mentors. I'll call out one of my great mentors, Ed Calder. He taught me this a long time ago when I was in corporate America. He taught me the words process improvement. Up until then, I had never heard it broken down like that. Process improvement. It's actually a skill, a quite valuable skill if you have it. Companies employ people to come in, look at their process, and find 1% to 2% changes that over the life cycle of their product or service production saves them millions and makes even more for them because they're able to reach more clients, they're able to produce more. So process improvement is something we should be employing in our lives. And I've been able to do it through the simple mantra, plan, do, review. So just like you're seeing this quote on the screen, this comes from James Clear. Many of you may have read Atomic Habits. And in that book, he says, we do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And that's what I'm trying to get you to understand today. You have to implement a system. And in Minding Our Business Academy, that's exactly what we give to our clients, a system of planning, a system of tracking. There's that review, right? And then a system of what to do with your money. Give your money a direction. I call it the principle of allocation, right? Allocating a purpose to the resources which you are given. All right. So as we move on into this, let's take a look at the planning phase of it. Planning is leadership. That's what that is. Every great leader shows up with a plan. Why do people trust and follow leaders? Because they feel like they have a plan that will actually work. I'm a big NFL fan, and if you've been looking at the news the last couple of days, there's been all kinds of shifting and jettison of really great men who are leading other men in these teams. But really, what is the reason why they might want to shift? They are enacting an alternate plan, and they want another leader with a plan that they think will be more successful than the previous leader. So that's why right now there's 9 NFL teams that don't have a head coach. Those owners, those general managers, they're enacting a new plan, and they're looking for new leaders to come aboard their organization with a plan. I can trust you. When they sit down in those interviews, the number one question is, what is your plan for this organization? How do you get us back to the winning column? It always starts with a plan. So planning is not restrictive. Planning is leadership. Planning is a core quality of all great leaders. What does planning actually mean for you as a steward? It means deciding before your week starts. I talk about it all the time, the weekly meeting. What am I going to spend this week? Where is my resources going to go? The resources God has blessed me with as a steward to manage, where am I going to direct those resources for the advancement of the kingdom? That's really what this is about. Now, of course, the kingdom starts within your household. Yes. So managing your household first, right? He who can be trusted with a little will then be trusted with a lot. And then you can begin to advance the ministries and the kingdom overall once you get your household in order. Assigning every dollar a job, whether that job is to maintain your household, planning for future events, investing in ministries, multiplication. That is something that a common theme we see in the Bible is multiplication. Planning on investing to multiply those resources, that's exponentially important. Identifying upcoming resources, aligning the money with your values. I talked about ministries, charities, and different organizations that may line up with your values and move you deeply to participate and support. But if you don't have a plan for how you're going to do that, it is just a wish. It's just a thought. Removing decision fatigue, right? That's a big thing for us. We're making so many decisions on our feet, as we say. Before we've done a planning process, we encounter these situations. I'm out and about. I didn't plan before. I didn't bring any food with me. Now I'm in the car. Now I have to make a decision right now based on the environment where I'm in. And it's usually a poor decision to get fast food or of some kind or something that I may not be able to afford. That is decision fatigue, when you're just constantly putting yourself in this decision, in this loop of making decisions while in the situation, and you haven't planned before entering the situation. That's where we get decision fatigue, and then that's where we make sometimes the decisions that are not in line with our goals and our values. So these are excuse me, these are all reasons why planning is the very first step. If you do not plan your week, you are your spending will plan itself. Let me say that again. If you don't plan your week, your spending will plan itself. Why? It will be situational. Your spending will be tied to the situation you're in. So the Bible doesn't say that God establishes intentions. It says he establishes plans, right? We intend to do a lot of things, right? And there's a great saying, right? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's not paved with good activities. It's paved with good intentions. We intend to do something, but we never do it, right? And it's so funny because today in that Proverbs reading, Proverbs chapter 14, I think right when you get about the 22nd, 23rd verse, it says, don't just talk about these things, make sure you're doing these things. That's where the success, that's where riches, that's where wealth lies. Don't just talk about your plans. Make sure you are enacting those plans. Growing up in inner city Brooklyn, we used to say, don't talk about it, be about it, right? So again, that a sound word for anyone out there who may have been vocalizing your resolutions, your plans, your goals. Don't just vocalize them. Like I said, get some activity, get your calendar and align it with these goals. Actually put things, tie them to dates, and then you'll be surprised how much activity you actually get done. All right, as we go on past the planning phase, brutally important that we execute the planning phase properly. Then we get to the do phase. What is the doing? Doing is the discipline part. That's where the discipline lies. I have these goals. I've broken them down into milestones. I've tied those milestones to the calendar. Now, when that day comes, I have to do it. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm part of a group called F3. It's a group for the invigoration of male leadership within the community. So it's a group of Christian men. We get together. We have 5 core principles. One of them is we work out outdoors, rain, sleet, cold, good weather, bad weather, we're out there. So, you think it's really motivating? Last Monday, actually, this Monday, today is Wednesday. This past Monday, it was 29 degrees here in Georgia. And I'm getting out of my nice, warm 73-degree bed. Do you think I really had the motivation to go out there 29 degrees? I really didn't. But guess what? Not only did my alarm go off, my calendar reminder went off for me to what I call wake, hydrate, and dedicate. That's my devotional period. So get up, get dressed, hydrate, go into my devotion, and then I'm ready to get out and get to work. And all of these things are actually on my calendar. That's how I can stay consistent at getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and getting out and getting to that workout meetup point before 5:30 a.m. It's calendared, right? So, what are we going to do? Planning doesn't change your life. The execution piece of the plan is what changes your life. That's what I'm trying to reiterate with all of you today. So, what does that look like? That looks like following your spending plan, right? If you're part of the MOB community, you've worked with me probably one-on-one to create your spending plan, right? Making aligned decisions in real time. I've already written out my weekly plan for all the categories, what I'm going to spend in these categories. So in real time, when I hit the grocery store or I'm out and about, I've already got a plan in place. I know what I'm going to do real time. I'm not responding to my situation. Tracking as you go, right? Again, if you're part of the community, if you've been with me for a while, you have our tracking tool that we use to track where every dollar is going, right? So tracking as you go. Saying no when you need to. I talked last week about having a fiscal fast, finding some period of time in this month of January where you just essentially lock the wallet, lock the purse, throw the credit cards in a cup of water and put them in the freezer, literally freezing the account. That's something I came up with about a decade ago when I first started teaching stewardship, right? It allows you to, when you got to take it out and wait for it to melt, it allows that heat of the situation to cool off, right? So all these things allow you to stay on the progress of what you need to do and what you've planned to do, more importantly. And then staying consistent, not perfect. Now, what does that mean? Let me tie this back to the workout thing. End of the year, I'm leading the workout. Smart me. I decide, oh, it's the end of the year. Let me challenge the guys to max out Monday. We're going to do the maximum reps we can do of every exercise. So I already had this plan of the exercises I wanted to do, and I'm leading. So I took them through my exercises. And then, as a good leader, I'm engaging the people in the group. So I left a portion of the 45-minute workout that the other members who were there with me could call out their workout they wanted to do, all of us to do for max reps. And one of my good buddies, we call him Nacho. We all have nicknames, and he's a monster. So he had us running out to where the bars are, and then I already knew what workout he was going to have us do. One of his favorites is pull-ups, right? And so we're up there and I'm maxing out on the pull-ups and I pull a muscle in my neck. I didn't know it at the time. I got my max number in. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I go to sleep that night. The next morning I wake up and I can't move my neck. Even doing this now, it hurts on one side. And so I'm like, man, and I'm super bummed about it because I had all these plans already for January. I was going to level up from the 3 days a week to 5 days a week. I was going to find other groups to connect with in my area. And I had this whole plan. And now I got an injury. So what does that mean? Okay. Wednesday, I still went and worked out, even though I was in pain. One of our things we do is we modify as needed. So I modified my workout to take it easy, but I still probably did more than I should have, and I aggravated it again. So my usual Friday, I didn't go out on Friday, so I missed a day. I wasn't perfect, but I made sure that the following Monday, I was back where I needed to be, which was this past Monday. Or actually last week. Monday and Wednesday still went out. I took Friday off because again, during the week, I'm doing a little bit more than I should have. And then I had to modify. Again, Monday, Wednesday, today being Wednesday, I still went out. So consistency, right? Even though I can't go as hard as I usually go, I'm still out there. I'm still in the environment. I'm still connecting with the people. I'm still fulfilling the plan that I put on my calendar to get out and work out. Those are the same things and adjustments we need to do with our finances. You know what? I don't have as much money as I plan to have at this point in the year. I'm going to modify. You know what? I didn't do the right thing last week. Spent a lot too much with eating out and different things. I'm going to modify this week. That's the mentality we should be in. Consistency over perfection. Discipline. What is this about? Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. So, again, Monday morning, 29 degrees. I wanted to stay in my bed. But what I want most is a fit body and longevity. So that decision prevailed. And that's why I got out of my bed and was able to work out. So this is the mind frame I'm trying to share with all of you. So you're not aiming for perfection. You're just aiming to build consistency. Just stack it day on day, brick on brick, decision on decision. That's what you're looking to implement and stay consistent with. All right, let's get into our third and last point, the review phase. The review phase. Reviewing now, believe it or not, this is the mastery phase. Any sports athlete that you like and you follow, any successful person will tell you they planned it, they did it, and then they went back and reviewed their performance, right? I have kids that were athletes. My 17-year-old right now, he's a senior in high school. He plays football, he runs track, and every Monday after their Friday night game, film session. Coach is running a film session. And then because they wanted to do better, their quarterback, he would also run a Saturday film session at his house. What is that about? They're reviewing their performance. They're reviewing how did they execute the game plan that they had going in? And how do we adjust our execution and our plan as we go into another game, right? That's done at the high school level, that's done at the collegiate level, it's done at the pro level. Film study. What is film study? That's where mastery is built. You're looking at your performance, you're gauging the effectiveness of your plan, you're measuring your execution of said plan, and then you're making an adjustment to increase performance. Adjust the plan so the plan is more suited for the implementation, and then you're adjusting your performance or your execution to perform or execute at a higher level. That's what you're looking to do. So this is where most people fail. And this is actually where leaders and good stewards are built. It's built in the mastery piece, going back, looking at what you did, win, lose, or draw, being objective about it, not beating yourself up, looking at what it is in an honest, truthful light, and making the adjustments you need to make in order to be successful. So, like I said, all champions out there. If you're a big sports fan, basketball's ramping up, football's coming to a head. College football have their championship game on Monday. My son, shout out to my son Mike. I know he's super excited about it. He's a Hoosier. He's in his junior year at Indiana University. They're going to be represented in the college football championship. Football will have a Super Bowl in a couple weeks based on what happens this weekend. But all of those teams, all those individuals that fans are paid their money and are rooting for, you best believe it, they are masters of reviewing their performance. So So if we want to be good stewards, if we want to go to a championship level within the kingdom with God's resources, there's so many scriptures, whether it's a scripture about the minas, the scripture about the talents, it talks about the performance, how those servants who performed were rewarded. So I want you to go and take a look at those things. And I think we all know the mastery is in the reviewing. So what does that look like for a financial steward? Your budget versus your actual. That's what your weekly meeting is all about. What worked? What didn't work? Were you too aggressive with some of your plans? Were you too lenient in some areas? Did you go over budget, under budget? That's what that too aggressive or too lenient in some areas. Those are the adjustments that you want to take a look at. What drifted? What situations did you walk into that you weren't properly planned for that now you can create a plan to respond to that situation because you're probably going to be in that situation again over the next 50 weeks of the year. And then overall, what do you need to adjust? Talked about that earlier with my injury, right? I had to make an adjustment. So I went down to 2 days instead of 3 days. This week, I'm probably going to go up to about 3 or 4 days, right? So that adjustment, I made it for a couple of weeks so I could heal, repair from the injury, and then I adjust back up. So all those are things you can do within your budget. You can adjust your spending in order to decrease your debt. And then at some point, when you're looking to buy a home, you're looking to make large purchases, you may want to increase your debt and reduce your budget. It's checks and balances. That's what you're doing. But if you aren't tracking, if you aren't planning, if you aren't executing the work and then going back and tracking and reviewing your performance, you won't know. You're just playing hit or miss. You won't know where the most effective activities lie. All right. So reviewing is how we get better without starting over. Again, take the emotion out of it. Look at the situation for what it is. Make a plan and adjust. So again, planning gives us direction. Doing builds discipline, and reviewing, that creates mastery. So just to recap what we covered tonight, resolutions fail because they rely on emotion. They rely on willpower. They rely on motivation. They rely on all these emotional elements, and they're all coming from internal. Systems win because they rely on structure. They're then external structures you've put in place to make sure you're staying on course. And this is not just a feeling, it's not just a thought. And January doesn't need motivation, it needs a system. That's what you need to implement in January. Forget about motivating yourself to stick to your resolution or stick to your goals. Instead, implement a system that you can employ to meet those goals and stay on course with those plans you've made for yourself. So again, what will they put on my headstone? Plan, do, review. And again, just to tie this all back, commit your work, not your wishes, and God will establish the plan. So this is exactly why we built the MOB Financial Academy. This is the reason why we exist. It's not a resolution program. It's a weekly execution environment. We rely on systems, not on hype. Structure, not on shame. And it's faith plus financial stewardship. That's the goal of what we're trying to do. So our framework, again, we have these weekly money meetings with ourselves. It's a proven framework. We have templates for you. There's coaching, there's accountability, and a community of like-minded individuals that you can actually ask questions, get motivated, partner up with. So if you're done with the resolutions and you're ready for results, then join the MOB Financial Academy. And remember, comment systems when you see this replay or any of the short posts that we put out there, and we'll get a worksheet to you that will help you get through your planning, your doing, and your reviewing. So we're asking you to go beyond the resolutions that are fading and implement a system that will endure throughout 2026, and 2026 doesn't have to look like last year if you implement a system for your success. So again, my name is Lionel Allen, certified financial educator, real estate investor and agent, and an overall investor in the kingdom. So I appreciate you all for joining me tonight. We went a little long, but sometimes there are just things we need to fully unpack so you all are prepared to move forward in your stewardship journey. So thank you for joining us again every single Wednesday night at 6 p.m. We'll be glad to have you, and come out and join us in the Minding Our Business Financial Academy.
Thanks for joining us at the MOB Academy. Now stop scrolling and go mind your business.